Imagine living in a house full of secrets, a house no one dares to approach, where eerie rituals are held and endless screams echo through the night. What if I told you there's a locked room no one is allowed to enter? And the strangest part, what if it's all true? This isn't just a horror story, it's a real-life experience of someone named Nasser in his grandfather's haunted house. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will stay with you forever. I'm trying to muster all my strength as I write this story. Honestly, I thought I was braver than I turned out to be. Turns out, I'm a coward. Over the past 5 years, I haven't encountered a story as strange as this one, and I never imagined it would happen to me of all people. I've always known you don't like lengthy introductions. You prefer getting straight to the story. But this time, forgive me, I'm sorry, I have to tell you everything in detail. I haven't posted any content for 4 months, not because of a lack of ideas, but because I was searching for something better. I never imagined that the better I was looking for would happen to me. Do you want to know what happened? Let me tell you. Yesterday, I opened my page messages. Among many inquiries asking if I was okay, I noticed a message from an account named Nasser. For some reason, I decided to open his messages specifically. He had sent me several, including this one. Hi, Mohammed. You seem to have been absent for a long time. I hope you're okay. I've been following you for 2 months, and I really like your style. I hope you'll share my story because you'll be part of it. I finished reading the first message and was puzzled. I often receive strange messages, but this one had an unsettling vibe. How could I be part of his story unless he meant for me to narrate it? I decided to check the rest of the messages. First, let me say you're talented. Your imagination is vast and you've managed to build a large following, but sadly, it's all based on lies. Surprise? Imagination, it is just lies, Muhammad. What one sees is different from what one imagines. The name Nasser on this account isn't my real name, and my real name wouldn't matter to you. But if you want to call me something, you can call me the servant of Satan. Don't be surprised by the name. I sold my soul a long time ago. Don't believe me? Then let me tell you, they're the ones making you read this message. I don't want to drag out my story, but let me tell you this. I can see and hear what you can't imagine. I see them all around me as I write this message. Their forms aren't what you'd expect, not like the movies or books have led you to believe. Their appearances are far more majestic and terrifying. I won't go too deep into my story just yet. I'll just give you a glimpse. It all began in the house of Shammas, the worst house in my village. It was known for being a source of misfortune and terror for everyone in town. Shammas was my grandfather. We lived in a vast and ancient house surrounded by a garden where every plant was wilted. Strangely, I had no friends. Everyone avoided our family. Yet, despite the avoidance, no one could do without us. The reason was my grandfather, Shammas. He had many names in the village: the Blessed, the Sorcerer, or the Cursed. My grandfather had a massive reputation because he treated the possessed and the deranged. Many legends surrounded him, one being that he was immortal. This stemmed from the fact that he died at the age of 123 years. 123 years spent serving the devil. If I were to tell you everything I saw, one story wouldn't be enough. But let me tell you this, I dreaded nightfall unless I was already asleep. By sunset, I had to be in bed. Our old and ancient house was inhabited by demons everywhere. In every corner there were screams throughout the house, starting at 9 p.m., especially when my grandfather began his sessions, whether alone or with the people who sought his help. The sight of those who entered our house was pitiful, weak, and helpless. But the possessed, they were far more terrifying than you could imagine. If I didn't fall asleep on time, there would be no sleep at all due to the constant screaming. If I tell you about my father, you'll feel sorrow. My father was rebellious. He tried countless times to take us away from the Shammas house, but my grandfather always responded with violence and cruelty until my father finally decided to escape. September 18th, 1990. That date marked the end of my father's story, the day he decided to flee. But it was also the beginning of another story for me. The strange part? My father chose to escape with my mother, but left me with my grandfather. Even stranger, my grandfather didn't seem to care. I woke up one morning like any other, only to find no one in the house. As a child, I naturally asked about my parents, but my grandfather's response shocked me. Forget them, Nasser. That day, I learned from my aunt that my father and mother had fled. From then on, my grandfather made me sit with him through everything, even the sessions no child's mind could handle. I would sit in the corner of the room, clutching my knees to my chest, trembling as I watched the possessed individual transform into a demon in human form. My grandfather, however, remained calm and composed. As months passed, I decided to escape, but something happened that made me abandon the idea. Let me describe the house to you. It had 2 floors. The upper floor had 3 rooms, and the lower floor had 2. One was my grandfather's room, and the other was a room no one ever opened.